Why would a quiet girl walk toward an old piano when everyone expected her to fail? No one knew the answer. Not yet. The room was filled with low noise. Soft talking, small laughs, the sound of shoes moving on a wooden floor. It was a community hall. Nothing fancy. Plain walls, warm lights hanging from the ceiling. A few chairs placed in loose rows. In one corner of the room stood a piano. It was old, black paint scratched in many places. Some keys were yellow. One pedal looked loose. It had clearly been there for years. Most people walked past it without care. Near the back of the hall stood a young girl. She was small, very quiet. She did not speak to anyone. Her clothes were simple, a plain dress. Nothing new, nothing bright. Her shoes looked tired, like they had walked many long roads. She held her hands together, tightly. Her fingers moved slightly, as if she was counting something. Her eyes stayed on the piano. Not the people, not the food table, not the small stage. Only the piano. She did not smile. She did not frown. Her face showed something deeper, something heavy. People noticed her. Some glanced at her and looked away. Others stared for a second longer. One person whispered, "Who is she?" Another answered softly, "I don't know." Someone laughed under their breath. "She doesn't look like she belongs here." The girl heard it. Her shoulders dropped a little, but she did not move. This was not the first time she felt invisible. It was normal for her. The event was almost over. A few local performers had already played music earlier. They were confident. They smiled a lot. People clapped for them. Now the energy in the room was slow. One of the organizers stepped forward. He clapped his hands once. "If anyone else wants to play something," he said, "now is the time. Just something short." People looked around. No one stood up. A moment passed. Then a voice from the side spoke loudly. "Why not let her try?" The voice pointed toward the quiet girl. Many heads turned at once. The girl froze. Someone else laughed and added, "Yeah, just a simple piano tune." Simple, the word landed hard. The girl felt her heart beat faster. Her mouth went dry. She wanted to shake her head. She wanted to disappear, but everyone was looking at her now. Some faces showed curiosity. Some showed doubt. A few showed amusement. She took one slow step forward. The floor creaked under her shoe. Another step. Each step felt heavier than the last. She could feel eyes on her back, on her clothes, on her hands. Her hands were shaking. The piano bench looked far away. When she reached it, she stopped. For a moment she stood there, unsure. The room became quieter. No one spoke. She slowly sat down. The bench was cold. She placed her hands on her lap. Her fingers curled tightly. Her breathing was shallow. The piano keys were right in front of her. Black, white, waiting. She closed her eyes. The noise of the room faded. In her mind, she was somewhere else. A small room, cracked walls, a single window, cold air at night, a broken keyboard on a table. Some keys did not work. Some made strange sounds. She remembered practicing quietly, so no one would complain, so no one would laugh. She remembered playing when she was tired, when she was hungry, when she felt alone. Music was the only place she felt safe. She opened her eyes. The room was watching. Someone whispered, "Is she even going to play?" She lifted her hands slowly. Her fingers hovered above the keys. The first note came out soft. Very soft. It floated into the room like a breath. People stopped shifting in their seats. She pressed another key, then another. The tune was simple, just like they asked, but it was clean, gentle, careful. The sound filled the room slowly. The girl's shoulders relaxed. Her fingers moved with quiet confidence. She was no longer thinking about the people. She was listening to the piano. The notes began to connect. The tune flowed like a calm river. Someone in the front row leaned forward. A man who had been smiling stopped smiling. The laughter was gone. The room felt different now. The girl's hands moved smoothly. Her face changed. The fear faded. Something deeper came forward. The music grew a little stronger. Still soft, still simple, but full. Each note carried feeling. Sadness, hope, long nights, silent dreams. The piano responded to her touch. It did not sound old anymore. It sounded alive. People felt something shift inside them. A woman wiped her eyes without knowing why. A young man sat still, his mouth slightly open. No one spoke. No one moved. The tune slowed, then changed. The simple melody became deeper, more emotional. It felt like a story without words. The girl's fingers trembled slightly, but they did not stop. Her breathing matched the rhythm. The room felt smaller, closer. The lights felt warmer. Someone whispered softly, "This is not simple." Another whispered back, "No, it's not." The girl leaned into the piano. Her hands moved faster now. Not loud, not fast, but strong. The music felt honest. It felt real. Somewhere in the sound was pain. Somewhere else was strength. The girl's eyes stayed focused on the keys. Her face showed memories she never spoke about. The piano sang with her. The last few notes slowed again. The sound became quiet. So quiet that people leaned forward to hear it. Then she stopped. Her hands froze above the keys. The final note faded into silence. The room held its breath. No one clapped. No one spoke. The silence was heavy. The girl lifted her head slowly. She looked at the people in front of her. Their faces had changed. There was no laughter now. No doubt. Only attention. Only emotion. She swallowed. Her hands hovered in the air. She did not know what to do next. Her heart was still racing. Then she placed her fingers back on the piano, not to play, just to feel the keys. The room waited. Everyone waited, because whatever was coming next was clearly not going to be simple. Why did the room feel heavier than before, even though no sound was coming from the piano? No one spoke. No one moved. The girl was still sitting there. Her fingers rested lightly on the keys, but she was not playing. The silence felt louder than the music. Someone cleared their throat but quickly stopped. It was as if everyone was afraid to break the moment. The girl took a slow breath. Her shoulders rose, then fell. She looked down at the piano again. This time, she did not close her eyes. She pressed one key. The sound was deeper now, not gentle like before. It carried weight. She played another note. Then another. The tune returned, but it was different. Stronger. More open. It felt like she was no longer hiding. The piano filled the room again. The music was still simple, but it had grown, like a small flame becoming a fire. People felt it in their chest. A woman in the second row pressed her hand over her mouth. A man near the back slowly sat down on the floor. No one wanted to miss a single note. The girl's hands moved with purpose now. There was no fear in her fingers. Only truth. The melody rose and fell. It sounded like long roads, like quiet nights, like waiting for something that never came. Then it changed again. The music became softer, almost fragile. It felt like a question. The girl leaned closer to the piano. Her fingers shook slightly. But she did not stop. Her face showed something raw, something she never shared with words. The piano spoke for her. The sound carried loneliness. Not the kind that screams, the kind that sits quietly inside. People felt their own memories rise, moments they had buried, dreams they had set aside. The music did not ask for attention. It earned it. The girl straightened her back. Her hands moved faster. The tune lifted. Hope entered the sound. Not loud hope, not perfect hope, but real hope, the kind that survives The piano sounded fuller now, as if it had been waiting for her. The old keys responded with warmth. Each note felt alive. A tear rolled down someone's face. No one noticed. No one cared. The music mattered more. The girl's breathing became steady. Her hands were confident. She was no longer playing for the room. She was playing for herself. For the nights, she stayed quiet. For the times she was ignored. For the moments she almost gave up. The melody grew brighter. The sound filled every corner of the hall. It wrapped around the walls, around the people, around the silence that once judged her. Someone whispered, "She's telling a story." Another answered softly, "Yes, and it's beautiful." The girl lifted her hand slightly. The notes slowed. Each one landed gently, like footsteps coming home. The final part of the tune felt calm, peaceful, as if something had been released. Her fingers pressed to the last keys. The sound faded slowly. The piano went quiet. Her hands stayed still. The room stayed silent. For a heartbeat, then another. No one knew what to do. Then one person stood up, slowly, carefully. They began to clap, not loud, not fast. One clap, then another. Someone else joined. Then another. Soon the room filled with applause. Not cheering, not shouting, just deep, honest clapping. The girl froze. Salu got up. Her eyes were wide. She did not expect this. Her hands dropped to her lap. She stood slowly. The clapping grew stronger. Some people were standing now. Others nodded quietly. The girl felt her chest tighten. Her eyes filled with tears. She tried to blink them away. She bowed her head slightly. The applause continued. No one laughed. No one spoke. The respect in the room was clear. The organizer stepped forward. He did not take the microphone. He did not need to. He looked at the girl and spoke softly. "Thank you," he said. Only 2 words, but they carried weight. The girl nodded. She stepped away from the piano. As they walked, people moved aside. Not because they were asked, because they wanted to. Someone handed her a glass of water. She whispered, "Thank you," barely audible. Her hands were still shaking, but her heart felt lighter. A woman approached her slowly. She did not touch her. She just smiled. "You reminded me of something I forgot," she said. The girl did not answer. She only nodded. Another person said, "I hope you keep playing." The girl looked up. For the first time, she smiled. It was small, but real. The room slowly returned to normal. People talked quietly now. But the energy was different. The piano stood silently in the corner. No longer ignored. The girl stood near the wall. She felt tired, but strong. She looked at her hands. They no longer felt weak. They felt capable. As the event ended, people began to leave. Some glanced back at the piano. Some glanced at the girl. Not with doubt. At the piano. At the room. At the place where everything changed. She did not know what would happen next. She did not know if anyone would remember her. But she knew one thing. She had been heard. She stepped outside. The door closed softly behind her. The night was quiet, but inside her, the music was still playing, and it would not stop.